Yeah, I just had one of the largest personal victories of all time, possibly one of the biggest in human history. Dragon's Dogma, one of the most underrated RPGs ever, is getting its own anime. We have Cyberpunk getting an anime. Everyone likes anime all of a sudden. I remember in high school, I got made fun of for liking anime, but suddenly anime is cool, which is great. I'm happy about that. Welcome to the team, everybody. Anyway, we are talking about Cyberpunk 2077, and as always, you guys know me, I get energized talking about this game because I'm really excited for it. It seems to actually be amounting to a lot of the things that we've been personally expecting. So we've got district details, we've got character details, we've got a potential map for Cyberpunk 2077. Lots of exciting information to go over today. We're going to start off with more official means, beginning with some tweets that were sent in from CD Projekt Red about particular areas that we will be exploring throughout Night City. Now, what's interesting about this is that it's all concept art, but that concept art was used for a later piece of news, which is why I'm saving it towards the end of the video. So let's get things kicked off, beginning with the city center. So this may look familiar from the gig trailer that we saw when Night City Wire was going live. This also may look familiar if you've seen the 2018 Cyberpunk gameplay, which I imagine most of you at this point have. This is the starting area for V after that opening prologue mission. Cyberpunk's Twitter says, "That's City Center, Night City's corporate showcase. Sleek skyscrapers form a brutalist, fortress-like skyline, presenting the unrivaled power of Megacorps in all its arrogance. Since 2020, the city center has become the most fortified and secure part of Night City." Once again, putting the hashtag of concept art so people do not get the wrong idea. So a lot of this video's discussion is going to be dedicated to the Corpo route, which, that works for me because I was really interested in pushing forward into that route. You can pick multiple. For those who don't know, there's the Street Kid, the Nomad, or the Corpo. Now, Corpo, I'm going to get my suit and tie. I'm going to go that way. I'm a little bit of a businessman. I've got that in my DNA, so I feel that fits the role best. But anyway, we've got some characters to look at and still more district details. But staying on that idea of Corpo, let's look at the characters, starting off with Mr. Goldhand and Mr. Jenkins. Now, who is who here? Well, you just got to look at the gold hand because that's Mr. Goldhand. His hands are golden. I know, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. I can't believe it. There were actually people who could not tell who was who, and I understand that because sometimes it seems obvious or it's so obvious that you just miss it. I get it. It happens. We're human. But yes, there is no real official details about either of these characters because when you go on the wiki, you read previews, you search up news, there's nothing about either of these characters. But I think based off their outfits, we can safely assume that these are going to be characters that we encounter early on in the Corpo route, if you choose that to be your origin story. And perhaps these are characters that you encounter if you want to rise up the Arasaka Empire and you want to be the top dog there with your nice suit and tie saying, "I'm the boss now." But what if you want to tear them down? What if you're not interested in Megacorps and you don't want their dirty money? Well, then guess what? Yorinobu is your man. Let's read about him. Yorinobu, heir to the Arasaka Empire, is Soburo Arasaka's youngest and only surviving son. Yorinobu cut ties with his father after a heated argument. No specifics here. He sought destruction, but soon realized that the corporate giant's power was impossible to defeat, at least from the outside. Now, if you take the corporate route, you're on the inside. So obviously at some point, Yorinobu is going to come to you, and I imagine a choice will be presented about, "Hey dude, do you want to go ahead and take down this mega corporation that's kind of ruining the world and dominating everything?" What's interesting is there's the personal tie here. This is his father. There's also another interesting line, the only surviving son. So something happened with the rest of his family, whether the dad is really cutthroat, pardon the pun, or something less severe. Maybe they're just not around anymore. But since he says you cannot destroy them from the outside, that means Yorinobu's going to go on the inside. How's he going to do that? If he cut ties with his father, does he repair that relationship? How does that all work? These are the interesting sub-stories, if you will, of Cyberpunk that I'm really looking forward to picking apart. But wait, there's more. We're taking a look at Santo Domingo. As we can see here, this is an industrial zone in Night City based off the smokestacks. It's a crammed living area, as we can see. Also tons of houses pretty much piled right on top of each other, jammed into corners of the location. And more interestingly, in Rancho Coronado, we see that it is fairly run down here between a barbed wire fence, graffiti all along the walls. We can see a group of people here who are armed, a dirt road. It paints a very clear picture that this place has been completely destroyed and has been abandoned or something along those lines, and has a very different feel from the rest of Night City. Cyberpunk's Twitter describes it saying, Santo Domingo is one of Night City's oldest districts, which would explain some of the debris and how run down it looks. Corporations use it as a testing ground for industrial projects, destroying old factories just to build new ones, while residents scrape a desperate living in crowded mega buildings, wishing for something better. So I feel the concept art paints a really good picture. I'm on a roll with these puns. Oh my god, I gotta stop, bro. I really do feel like it channels exactly what it is. It's very old, it's very run down, it's been completely used to death by giant corporations. It's been industrialized so much that people don't really have a place to live, so they have to cram inside these gigantic buildings. It seems like a really depressing place to be. Now, the reason I saved this for the end of the video is because it's not exactly official information, but it certainly is the most exciting. And while it is fan-made, it does have a degree of legitimacy. So there is a book coming out called The World of Cyberpunk, and there are some images of said book. One of them paints out the map of Night City, where we can see various districts like Watson, Westbrook, City Center, Little China, the Arasaka waterfront. So a lot of these places will seem somewhat familiar if you've been paying attention to mine or other people's Cyberpunk 2077 coverage. These have been districts that we've continued to cover throughout the entire game's life cycle. And now someone has taken the concept art that CD Projekt Red is officially giving us and used that between the actual map here, the mock map we have, as well as those photos to create an actual map for Cyberpunk. So let's go ahead and take a look. This map actually dices it up in a much tighter fashion, where we see Kabuki, Little China, we see Japantown, Charter Hills, we do see Rancho Coronado on the southeast side, Arroyo. It's a seemingly dense map. There's lots to explore here. It's going to be very different from, say, the more horizontal landscapes of The Witcher 3, where it was very open fields that you could go ahead, hop on your horse and just ride along until you find the next quest or monster nest to clear out. This seems to be, given the actual vast cityscape, there's going to be more buildings that you can go in. Those buildings will be taller, so the exploration may end up being a little more vertical and going inside places a la, we'll say, like Skyrim or Fallout 4. Bethesda Game Studios has those more interactable worlds where you can go inside like standard houses and just explore, and it does bring the world to life. It does enhance immersion, and so I do hope we see that here with this open world. Seemingly that is the case, given the, like I said, large amount of cityscape. Most of this map is crowded with buildings. Seeing how diverse the map is, how we've seen in actual concept art, as well as in-game images and gameplay, that these districts are so diverse. Like, when you look at the Badlands, it looks like Rage 2. And I thought Rage 2 was a really fun game, but I thought the world was always interesting for Rage as well. So to capture that in like one little pocket of the open world, and then we've seen City Center pretty often where that is a complete contrast to what we saw in the Badlands. Rancho Coronado really hones in on that industrialized feel of corporations taking advantage of places where a lot of people are living and jamming them into corners just so that they can satisfy their own bottom line. While we haven't seen that in gameplay, I just thought overall there was a lot of things to be excited about with how Cyberpunk is building its world through both the images that we saw in concept art as well as these fan-made maps. So hopefully you share in that excitement that I'm personally having here. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077. I hope you guys enjoyed. You know me, I don't want to just cover like the quick little tweets that they're sending out. I want to wait for them to build up and then give you like one large news update video. I was kind of waiting for like that one tipping point to decide to make a Cyberpunk video, because the tweets were amounting, but there wasn't a lot there. Then I saw this map and I was like, we're going for it. This is exactly what we needed to talk about Cyberpunk. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you have to say in the comments down below. What do you think of the latest information on Cyberpunk? Let me know. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all the patrons who continue to flood it with that support. Appreciate each and every single one of you, and I'll talk with you soon. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.